Florida just passed a law that child molesters could be sentenced to death. Do you agree or disagree, and why? I would have to see the language of the bill to come to a conclusion on this. The term, child molester, makes you think grown adult perving on a grade school-age child. Unfortunately, the law isn't so black and white. How many teenage couples are 2 years apart and a year away from being executed by the state? Language is everything. I'm going to say the unpopular and unpleasant reality. Sentencing child molesters to death will result in less people coming forward. It's bad enough when the abuser tells you, if you tell anyone, daddy will get in trouble. Now try, if you tell anyone, they will kill daddy. A lot of child molesters are related to the victims or friends of the family. I don't think it's really fair to put that on a kid. You reported your creepy uncle for molesting you, so now we're going to kill him. Your uncle is going to die because you didn't keep your mouth shut. If a kid does let that prevent them from turning him in, then the law is worse than useless. It's actually helping the bad guy. And if a kid doesn't let that prevent them from turning him in, and the uncle gets executed, that's probably not going to be really great for the kid's emotional well-being. Disagree. If you make the punishment for molestation the same as for murder, then the purpose more likely to murder the child after the act and not leave a witness. When a law is passed that puts child molesters to death the same time that claims of grooming and child abuse towards the entire LGBTQ+ community are hitting their peak, it's not child molesters they're trying to kill here. Let's start lining up the politicians and the clergy, see how long the law lasts. Do I think a child molester deserves to die? Yes. Do I think there is a court or legal system on this planet even remotely qualified to pass that judgment? No. Some crimes definitely warrant death. There isn't a single person or system in existence qualified to make the call of which cases warranted. Would you feel safer in a gun-free state? Why or why not? I'm from Switzerland and we have a lot of guns. They have a much different status than in the US. Most people have served in the army and know thathi aren't a toy or something to show off but a deadly weapon that needs to be treated with respect. Switzerland is very safe and I feel safe there too. I moved to Austria where guns aren't as prevalent, but still exist. I don't feel a difference. In the US, it's not the existence of guns that would scare me but the huge amount of maniacs who are ready to shoot anyone before asking questions. I live in Iceland. I'm more likely to win the lottery than run into someone with a gun. I feel very safe, but not because there is no guns, mainly because I'm in Iceland. I live in Japan, basically gun-free. Even with a gun murder yesterday, I feel greatly safe from gun violence. Now the elder drivers swerving into lanes randomly not so safe. Here in Ireland, our regular police, Gardaí, don't even carry guns. There are armed units. Guns exist. Hunting is a sport and farmers might have them for rabbits, etc. I feel extremely safe. I don't ever even think about gun violence here. I moved to Germany from the US and I don't just feel safer. I am safer in literally every sense. The chances of me or my family being the victims of violent crime are much lower. I live in Australia. We are not gun-free, but wear low guns. I feel safe. I'd feel safer in a culture that didn't fetishize violence. Overgeneralized, the tool makes only so much difference in the face of a sick culture. That said, if dangerous tools are readily available, they will be used, especially by a sick culture like this one. If those tools are more efficient, they will do their task more efficiently. These aerial factors. What's the best pickup line you've ever heard? Buddy of mine just graduated the fire academy. This was 30 years ago. Him and another graduate were at their graduation party at a bar when they were chatting up some girls. His friend was talking to a taller chick when she mentioned she might be too tall for him. His buddy, the shorter dude, remarked, "I bet you're worth the climb. Are you a toaster? Because one bath with you would send me to heaven, tears of joy." I was at the gym, at the locker room, and this girl saw me with the same towel. She said, "We have the same towel," and I was like, "True, haha." Then, she said, "I wonder if we have the same phone number, too. Wanna check?" I told her I already had a girlfriend but I wished her the best because she deserves the world. It's not a pickup line as such, but this guy once said to me in passing, "Giirrrll, I wanna feed you steak and grapes," and I have never forgotten. Once was at a festival where an org were giving out free condoms at a booth. One of the ladies are talking to a guy and a girl saying, "The condoms are free by the way, take as many as you want." "Oh, but we don't have unlimited stock, so please don't tack more than you need." The girl picks up a condom, turns to the guy, and says, "Wanna share?" I like to tell guys I'm the small package big things come in. It has never worked. "I wish I was as tall as you. Can I borrow a few inches?" Titanic. What? Sorry. That's a terrible icebreaker. When I was a student at university, I saw a pretty girl eating a particular brand of yogurt at the crowded dining hall before morning classes. I had the same brand of yogurt on my tray. I asked if I could sit at her table and she nodded. I looked across the table at her and pointed at her yogurt and said with a big schmucky smile, "Yo player." Mine? It was said with humor and not as a pickup line. I ended up marrying that pretty girl. Amazing, given the horrible first line. Do you sleep on your stomach? If not, do you mind if I do? I was at my friend's house and his 5-year-old brother grabbed one of our friends by the hand and asked if he could play her a song on his guitar. She said yes. He picked up his guitar but stopped just before strumming it, thought for about 30 seconds and said, "I don't know any songs for princesses." That little kid had way more game than 19-year-old me had. On Halloween, a buddy of mine was dressed as a Viking. He asked a girl if she wanted to hear his Viking pickup line. She said yeah. So he literally picked her up and threw her over his shoulder and said he was taking her back to the boat. They dated for almost a year. Only pickup line I have ever actually see work is, "So, I see you have legs." 6 different couples I know started out with that line. Girl, are you a cemetery? 'Cause I'm dead inside and want to bury myself in you. Who is a fictional villain you'd have X with in a heartbeat? Mystique. The green woman from Kim Possible. Poison Ivy. My lil bro at age like 7 saw Princess Azula of the Fire Nation for the first time and said, "Sheshot." And I was forever scared he'd be into crazy itches. Catwoman. Jessie from Team Rocket. TBH, it would be a shorter list if you asked me which villains I wouldn't have X with. Can't believe I haven't seen Elizabeth Hurley as Satan in Bedazzled on here. Salma Hayek's character in From Dusk Till Dawn. Kronk. Loki. If Venom was interested in me, you'd need a SWAT team to keep me off him. Hela from Thor Ragnarok. Sarah Michelle Gellar circa Cruel Intentions. Darth Vader. For the choking. How would you feel if you turned on the news tomorrow and found out Donald Trump passed away? If he passes tomorrow, this thread will be the subject of one hell of a conspiracy theory. I have never killed anyone, but I have read some obituary notices with great satisfaction. Clarence Darrow. A bit of relief immediately followed by dread for all the absolutely psycho-babble bullshit the QAnon-utters would start spewing about it. Annoyed that it would dominate the news cycle for several weeks. In the words of Ice Cube, "I ain't gonna pop no champagne, but I ain't gonna shed no tears either." Relieved I don't wish dead upon people, but there are some people that I won't feel bad about if they left the earth. I'd actually be really worried about Ron DeSantis winning the presidency, even more than I already am. The thing about Trump is, as much as he liked the cruelty, it was never really the point. He didn't care what happened so long as it served Hisego. With Ron DeSantis, this is a guy who likes watching people get tortured. DeSantis is a true fascist. Why cheat when you can leave the relationship? Some people get a dopamine hit in their brain from cheating and a sense of comfort and familiarity being in a relationship. They want both. I came close to cheating once, and it was because I didn't admit to myself just how unhappy I was in the relationship. I kept telling myself I can make it work, then I was put in an environment that had severe old ladies that were happy to talk to me and be around me. That dopamine hit was massive and I can 100% see how it can just happen. Luckily I allowed myself to be honest about my feelings and broke up with my ex before I did anything. Do everybody a favor. Always be honest with yourself. Some people want to UCK cake and eat it too or something. Cheating is, famously, a thing people only do after thinking really hard about it and weighing their options. What is something people want to do that you think is actually incredible stupid? For the last 4 or 5 months, about 6 or 7 different times, my work supervisors, leadership have talked home about taking a supervisor role. My wage is the same as the wage of the supervisor role they want me to take. Inconceivable. Riding a motorcycle without leathers. A million things can happen so fast and there you are, sliding down the pavement leaving a meat smear. Exploring those small, tight SS caves. Extremely stupid. Buy that shiny newer version of a thing you already have. Drive after consuming alcohol. All my friends hate drunk driving and talk against it. They tell their parents that we're smarter than them cuz ofuber. And yet I seem to be the only one in my friend group who refuses to drive after having drinks at a bar, concert, friend's house. Forgiving people who are totally unapologetic unchanging abusers. Nope.